What's going on, guys? It's Brian with Simpleman's Comics, and welcome to the live stream. I've done one other live stream before, and it's basically a comic book haul. So this is a different format, but we got a great topic. So we're going to discuss comic books, we're going to discuss pop culture, and most of all, we're going to discuss Instagram. That's right, a lot of people use Instagram. I'm kind of new to it, but we've been doing it. I run my own Instagram for Simpleman's Comics. I have a personal one for family, and I help out with the CBSI Instagram page. But we have a special guest with us tonight. He's also helping out. We're running the CBSI Instagram page together. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce everyone to CBSI's Jack DeMeo. Jack, why don't you introduce yourself?
What's going on, Brian? Thank you for having me. My name is Jack DeMeo. I've been a CBSI member for about 6 years now. I got into comics around that time. I came from sneakers previously with baseball cards. I've kind of made that transition that a lot of us have made into comics. And as soon as I got into the game, I became a CBSI member almost immediately. And I haven't looked back.
Right. So, I got back, collected comics as a kid. Of course, everyone did. Joined the Marine Corps. I mean, early 90s, I kind of fell out of it. High school, sports. So, stopped collecting comics. Joined the Marine Corps. Got out of the Marine Corps, did a bunch of stuff. Basically, and then they started making more movies about comic books. Hulk, Iron Man. And then right before Avengers came out is really when I started getting the blood fueling again. Started buying more comic books up. So, of course, I didn't know much about it besides what I knew as a child. So, I started searching online, found a couple other sites, and then I stumbled upon CBSI Google Plus community. That was like in 2013. So, joined on there. I was like, I think it was less than 100 members at the time. Public, bunch of great people. I was like, hey, no one wants to hear me talk my nerd comic book stuff when I'm at work or anything like that. Here's a bunch of people I can talk to, learn from. So that's how I became CBSI member. And that just kind of grew from there. Great community, great family. Google Plus, comic book speculation investing. If you guys are interested, search for it. It's free to join. Bunch of great people on there. And then from there, it just kind of evolved. The more people I talked to, people started branching out. Went from the Google Plus, then they created a website for it, comicbookinvest.com. And then from there, they ran an Instagram page. Inigo was running it for a while. He ran the site, ran Facebook, ran Twitter, ran Instagram. And then they were looking for someone to help out. And I was like, hey, I'll help out where I can. So I started running CBSI Instagram page probably about 2 years ago, maybe. But so we're constantly posting on there. And then it starts wearing you down. I mean, between the CBSI Instagram page, I started my own YouTube channel. It's just, you get comic fatigue, social fatigue, everything. And then Jack DeMeo, he does a lot for the website. He writes the Cinco de Mayo articles. He does a lot of recon reports. And he was going to Heroes Con, what was it, like 2 months ago?
Yeah, middle of June.
Right.
Middle of June, so about a month ago.
So Jack DeMeo was like, hey, I'm going to go to Heroes Con instead of just doing a recon report. Do you mind if I use the Instagram account and post to that so we could share it with everyone else? And I was like, hey, have at it, man. And he crushed it. I mean, he was posting, I don't know if you guys look at the CBI Instagram, anything you see from Heroes Con, that's Jack's work. And I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. He came back. He was like, hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate you. I was like, dude, you helped me out. In fact, do you want to help me out going forward and help run the CBSI Instagram page? And he was like, absolutely, right? I mean,
yeah, I was excited. I had a good time with it. And to be honest with you, I actually didn't get accomplished everything I kind of wanted to. I had this kind of grandiose idea of what we could do at conventions. And I quickly found out how overwhelming it can become. But I had a good time with it. And I was glad to see that people enjoyed the content that we were able to put together. And it kind of got my juices flowing. I was feeling some of that fatigue you talked about with the Google Plus community. we've established ourselves very well within that community, and it kind of got to a point where we had almost not plateaued, but things had become to feel redundant for me. So it was exciting to get on a new platform, one where we could kind of reestablish ourselves, build the brand name, and it's been fun to see bring in so many new kind of people to pay attention to the group, whether it's people that want to be members, people that want to see the website, comicbookinvest.com, which is obviously like the flagship, whether they just want to be involved in the Instagram community, because people have their own little social traits. It's been really fun to see the community kind of expand, and CBSI, always to understand that CBSI has a big name, and when you put it out there and you start to see it responded to, the Instagram community, that's been real fun. Because the Instagram community, it's almost a whole separate thing, the Instagram comic community. So to be able to come in and kind of penetrate that has been a real good time.
Right. And I mean, so got the Instagram page going. Jack's been helping out. I'll tell you what, Jack's been posting on it more than I have lately. He's doing a great job. It's well-rounded material. So it's comic books, pop culture. I mean, he's got trailers going on. Not only that, but he has started posting video, not just pictures. There's all types of information on there. Let's say, what kind of stuff are you looking at when you're saying, hey, I'll post this to Instagram, or what do you think people want to see? Or is it kind of like, hey, this is what I would like? Or I guess tell everyone about what's your mentality when you're posting to Instagram.
Well, one thing I wanted to do is kind of expand on what we already do on Google+. So on Google+, obviously, we're very speculation-driven. Comic book speculation investing, it's right in our name. But at the same point, moving on to Instagram, I wanted to be able to provide a more well-rounded content. So not just give you the, hey, this book is coming out, or this is the hot first appearance. I also wanted to be able to say, like, here's a trailer, here's a picture of some unfinished artwork that an artist is working on. Here is a haul picture that a CBSI member got. And I wanted to be able to provide diverse content, because the more that I'm kind of getting involved, the more I'm seeing that there's people at different stages of collecting, at different stages of investing, and they enjoy different types of CBSI content. And sometimes we can get our heads kind of in the clouds, and we can only talk to people that are at a certain level of investing or certain level of collecting, and we're missing out on a whole bunch of people. So I want to provide a little bit of everything. I want you to be able to, if you collect comics, if you invest, if you sell on eBay, I want you to have something out of the Instagram page that you're going to enjoy. So I've opened up kind of the parameters of what I'm looking for, and then I try to find things that I find interesting. The key to it is, what's the comic book hook? A lot of the websites, whether it's Newsarama or comicbook.com, they do a good job. But like a lot of conventions today, they're moving further and further away from the actual comics. And what we want to do is to always be about the comics, to always be about the first appearances, the speculation, the creators. So as long as I'm taking news and then giving you that angle of it, that's what I hope to provide from the CBSI Instagram.
Right. So just so everyone knows, as we start getting people into this live stream, I want everyone to know, as you can tell, the chat is on the screen. It's a conversation for everyone. So we will be taking questions. We want to make this not just a video about us and Instagram, but hey, this is for the community. Share, post, ask questions. We'll get to them as we can. Also, just keep in mind that we're trying to keep it PG-13, so YouTube kind of moderates some of the language, so let's just keep it Disney Plus. We'll say Disney Plus. But back in from Instagram a little bit, Jack, I know I've talked to you on Hangouts, I've talked to you on the G Plus page, but this is the first time, I mean, face to face, face to camera. Like, I didn't know what your voice sounded like. For all I know, you sound like really high voice. It was really cool. But what is your comic background? Like, what is your favorite? I notice, for one, it's not my cup of tea. Nothing against it. It's just as many comic books are out there. I noticed you're one like a Valiant fan. What type of books do you like? And then kind of how is your background from, hey, why do you like those books? Because usually there's something, it's not like, hey, I picked a book up and liked it and I'm going to collect those. There's usually something that, like you mentioned the hook for CBSI Instagram. Right. What is the hook on the books that you like and the books that you collect?
Well, growing up, I was born in 85. So when I started reading comics was like 90 to 95, like most kids. And during that era, I was into kind of the more graphic, Punisher. And during that era, it was kind of Punisher, Moon Knight, Midnight Suns, that kind of thing. And then as I moved out of comics and, teenage years, as a lot of us do, you start chasing girls and doing college and things like that. I moved out of comics. Like I said, I got into baseball cards. I got into sneakers. I work in the sneaker industry, so I was involved a lot with that. And when I got back into comics, I was kind of open. I didn't really have anything that was my thing, and I didn't know really where to begin. So the biggest thing that I've enjoyed is that I have an open mind, and I've kind of jumped into a lot of different things. The first comic I read when I got back into comics was actually sit down and read was Southern Bastards, and I was hooked. And at that point, I have kind of expanded. I still am those typical kind of Marvel, DC characters of kind of my youth. So I'm still partial to Daredevil, Punisher, Batman, the kind of dark characters. But I've been able to expand into a lot of indie. The thing with Valiant was, as a kid, I wasn't exposed to Valiant at all. So I didn't really know anything about it. And when I got back into comics and I got involved with CBSI, obviously Valiant is a very polarizing topic. Either you love Valiant or you hate it. And I didn't really have an opinion one way or the other until I covered a convention for CBSI. And I got to interview the CEO at the time, Dinesh Shamdasani, and he kind of won me over. He in sitting down and talking to him and getting to really spend time with him, I told him from the get-go that I don't know your product and I'm open, and he really won me over, and I enjoyed the stories. For me, I want a story with a lot of action, but at the same point, I want heart. I want the characters to feel like people you know, or at least people you can relate to. And so I feel like Valiant does that. I'm still new in my kind of Valiant experience and knowledge, but that's kind of what's fun. You just get into it and you read it. So I don't speculate a whole lot on Valiant, because my kind of rule of thumb is you speculate on what you know. But it's been fun to kind of get into. But so I'm an old school kind of Marvel, DC, mid-90s type kind of guy. And that still, to me, it seems to be the stuff that hooks me in. A Jim Lee cover is going to get me every time.
Right. Now, here's something I'll probably catch a lot of flack for, but me, for some reason, I can never and never have been a big X-Men fan. The whole mutant line, outside of Deadpool. Now, when New Mutants came out, I loved the cover. Not a big Liefeld fan, but hey, awesome cover, loved the character. And then once he started, I think I liked him also because he was a smaller character. And then, of course, now he's wide known, so I kind of was like, well, I can't say, well, I can't like him, but I don't like him as much because I always root for the smaller characters. But yeah, it's like, it's weird. Like, I like Wolverine and I like some of the X-Men, but I'm never on the hunt for X-Men type books or mutant type books. Even like the whole X-23 everyone's crazy about it, I'm just kind of like, meh. But I understand each their own. Lately, I haven't even been doing a whole lot of speculating. I've just been back to the roots of buying what I like. I can't say reading what I like because I don't get to read as much as I'd like to. I found myself, I buy a lot, bag and boredom, and then I'll read the comic digitally online or something. But when I started with comics, it wasn't even like the big comics. My parents just wanted me to get reading, so they're like, hey, you need to read something. And I got so sick of reading Charlotte Webb, freaking
Right.
James and the Giant Peach, you know, Willy Wonka. So I wanted something different, something I really enjoyed. Not that I didn't hate those books, but it felt like schoolwork. So I started, there was a grocery store in Woodbridge, Virginia. It was called Basics. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. And they had Archie Digest up there by the checkout. So I was like, hey, this looks cool. So I got hooked on Archie comics. Archie, Laugh, the Double Digest, the floppies. I was reading all those at the time. And then reading-wise, I started reading more like Stephen King books. So I read Misery. And it gave me nightmares. And I woke up the next morning. I guess I thought I was the character that, gets the writer in the book. Not that's a spoiler alert, but so somehow I got up in the middle of the night and one of my Archie Double Digest, I'd ripped it up and threw it in the trash like I was the character in the book ripping stuff up. But Archie was my intro to comics, and then every year at Christmas time you get the J.C. Penney Christmas catalog or the Sears Christmas catalog.
Yep.
And I started looking at that, and at the time also I was baseball cards, not really so much in the comics outside just reading, but I was like, they'd always have like the Marvel collection. It was like 25 books and had a little binder and some bags and boards or something to put it in. So that's how I started with the big two, getting a Marvel series and a DC series like that. And I was like, oh, these are kind of cool books. And then right around 1989, a big movie hit the theater in the summertime, and it was the Michael Keaton Batman movie. And I went and saw that, and I was hooked. I was out there buying like every Batman book I could find. I was at the card store.
He's still my Batman.
Yeah. Instead of buying baseball cards, now I'm at the card store looking at comics, flipping through Batman. And, at the time I'm going, geesh, $1.75 for this book. I can't afford that. But so it's funny looking back on stuff like that. But that's what got me into the big two. Started reading Batman,
right.
Mostly more DC than Marvel. But then Marvel-wise, of course, it was Spider-Man at first. But then I got into like Thor. And then over on DC, I got more into like Green Lantern. So I've always been either on the Avengers side, and then more Batman than Superman, of course. I liked Superman movies. Of course, I mean, the freaking Christopher Reeve Superman, everyone is the Superman. But I never got into reading the books that much. But I liked the cartoons. I even watched the old black and white TV show. Those were the type of things that I enjoyed. And that's kind of where I started getting my genesis into more mainstream comic collecting. But anyways, sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there. But is there anything, like you like Valiant? One of my also things that I'll probably get laughed out of the room about is not just basically, I like Zenescope, but not the regular Zenescope books. Paul Green does a lot of the cosplay and the variants and the Zenescope variants. Love his art. So when I collect Zenescope, I'm usually buying like the Paul Green cosplay variants, looking for 9/8. So it's a niche, but I'll pick those up when I see them, especially for cheap. But outside of that, I've just been buying.
Well, I enjoy a lot of the niche collecting stuff kind of thing. Like I'm a big G.I. Joe
right.
and Ninja Turtles and stuff. You got a smaller audience. It's easier to kind of go in and make your market and something like that than one of these established Marvel heroes, where if you're trying to put some sort of a collection together, you got some work to do.
Yeah, that's like me. My biggest, of course, is I love me some Masters of the Universe.
Yep.
I've been working for about a year and a half now on. I want a full 9/8 CGC graded. I don't care if it's CBCS, but I want a full 9/8 of the issues 1 through 13 of the 86 star run. But the thing is it seems like people are starting to become more aware of them. So the prices are starting to jump. And I did just pick up, this weekend, or not weekend, yesterday. But anyhow, so I was looking in the chat real quick. We got Astro Comics talking about Hulk 180 no stamp. Can't see where you could go wrong. think a book's going to start rising quick. I kind of agree, man, especially with the way the Hulk 181 has been freaking taking off lately. But well,
No, I totally agree. The more that comics move out away from Overstreet and on to the more online platforms, you're going to start seeing more of these kind of pre-first appearance books becoming more and more and more important.
Right. So, I'm going to circle back around to that in a minute. Let's get to the meat of why we're here. And that, of course, was the CBSI Instagram account. So, lately, one of the new things with Instagram is they just launched Instagram TV, or IGTV. It's supposed to be their big competitor to YouTube at the moment. I know there's some creators out there that are like, oh, but there's no monetization yet. But hey, it's the competitor to YouTube. It's great because it's built for mobile devices, built for your cell phones. I mean, most people, when they watch YouTube, they're watching like this. Instagram, you can watch it like this. You watch it on the go. You're on your phone. So it's quick and rapid way to reach people, put content up there. Where do you see IGTV going? And I know we've kind of talked offline, but what are some of the ideas you have with CBSI's IGTV, and how can we produce content that people want to watch, but it's also informative? Yeah, it's kind of breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
IGTV on the first day that we IGTV came on, stuck my message you, and we discussed kind of what it was and where it made sense for us to be kind of involved in it. We talked about the same thing a lot of other creators talked about, where it's not monetized right now. So of course, there's a lot of people that.
All right, I'm gonna try to bring him back in real quick to see if we get that going on. Let's do this.
But if you can throw this in, I mean, we can just go like this, and we got this.
Yeah, we'll go like this for now.
Okay.
So we are back. We got Jack on audio. Video's a little choppy. Sorry for the technical difficulties. But, hey, we learn from our mistakes. So, welcome back. Thanks for your patience, guys. Got audio. So, we'll deal with that. Oh, there he is.
All right. What's up, guys? Sorry about that.
All right, hold on. Let me get you back on video. Oh. Where had you on video. Where we at?
Yeah, I just saw it disappear.
At least we can be like, hey, remember that first time we did that live stream? Yeah, that was awesome.
Right, you were like, oh, yeah, something could go wrong. I was like, oh, nothing's going to go wrong.
So I got you there. Why can't... We're just going to roll with the audio.
Okay. So there won't be any video, so I can set the phone down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just make sure it's not pointing at something in case the video does come through. We're not like...
Yeah. We don't see anything too crazy here.
All right. We'll just roll with this. So...
All right.
it's weird because I like see your video in one window, but it's not showing up in the main Skype window. So, hey, we'll we'll fix it. We'll be ready next time. Anyways, it's live. These are the ABCs of live stream. Anyhow, so we were talking about IGTV, of course, and then we were saying, hey, where do you see taking CBSI's Instagram with IGTV, right, and what would you like to do with it? Not just, I mean, from CBSI and beyond, because I noticed you've been talking to other people. Why don't you fill us in on some of that information?
Right. So because it's a new platform, a lot of creators are shying away from it because they, like you had mentioned, that they are kind of scared off by the lack of monetization. But every time a platform starts, monetization takes time. So we have an opportunity, which is how we look at it, to establish ourselves on the platform. So what we want to be doing is we want to try to get as active on IGTV as possible. The beauty of IGTV is, a lot of people know, if you post a video on Instagram, you have up to a minute you can post. So IGTV gives you up to an hour. So it could allow you to do as much as you could one day see, similar to what's on YouTube and on Facebook, where you have entire TV shows. And this opens up a lot of avenues for CBSI to do video content. So kind of like my brain started exploding with all of the possibilities of things that we could do. And we've kind of just played in the process of doing that. We've been kind of like looking at, there's not a lot of other people within the comic space putting out IGTV content. You have your typical, like your Marvel, the big corporations, but not within comic book collecting. So one of the people that we noticed right off the bat, you actually brought him to my attention, goes by at Comic Tom 101 on Instagram, and he had put out a video on his IGTV and on his YouTube channel that had actually broke down our hot 10 list that Ben Stein puts out. It's an incredible list, and it's kind of one of our main features on the website. And I saw that, and I said, man, that's how we want to be doing it. And the beauty of what CBSI is as a collective group of individuals is it allows us to branch out and reach out to somebody like that and say, hey, we like what you're doing. We appreciate what you're doing, and we want to be able to see how we can help you in the future to be able to do that, and how that can then help us, because it's putting out CBSI content at the end of the day. Tom has a follower base, and now his follower base is aware of what we do. And hopefully we can help him by making our follower base aware of what he does. And so that's one thing I want to try to do, is reach out to as many creators as possible and say, CBSI, like I said the other day, the DMs are open. We're open to talk. We're open to work with people. And, CBSI has always been, even as it started as a Google Plus group, it's always been, open membership. So we want the community to contribute. And that's where you and I run the IG, but the IG is going to work best when we have as much content from as many sources as possible, which is why you've seen posts come from all of the various CBSI Google Plus pages, because the CBSI Instagram represents all of those various pages. So whether it's original art, or if it's toy collecting, or, exclusive variants or things like that, we want to be representative of all of those things. And IGTV just gives us another platform on top of, the written word on Comic Book Invest, or, pictures on Instagram. It gives us just that other element. Obviously we have some technical things we got to work on, but that's the point. It's going to be, it's early, it's growing pains.
Right. And like I said, hey, when you and I were on here before we even kicked this off, said one of my worst things is like, hey, I think we're good. Content we want to talk about is good, but I don't know how the technical stuff is going, especially with this software, graphics, network bandwidth. I mean, all that tech crap. So we had an obstacle, but I think we overcame it. I mean, sorry for everyone that was online, but I appreciate you guys sticking with us. So, what about for people that use Instagram? I know a lot of people just post regular pictures. There are some I noticed there's some additional apps. Like I've used a couple different apps to help post, like when I post website articles with Wednesday One, which Adam does a kick-ass job on. If Wouldn't That Make a Cool Cover, which Scott crushes every week. There's a whole bunch of different articles, so I always try to post a picture, but then kind of the graphic from the article, so people seeing it can relate the picture. Oh, it's that part of the article, and then I also put the website in there so they know to go to our website, which is comicbookinvest.com. So, are there any apps that you use for that? And then I'll tell you what apps. Well, I'll tell you right now what apps I use. There's a couple apps on here. One is called Layout. And I mean, Layout will let you can pick 2 pictures and it puts it in there, whether you pick up to 4 pictures and it automatically kind of pick collage, and you can adjust stuff back and forth. So I usually crop the graphic from the article and then a picture from the article, make it into one picture, and it posts right to Instagram. It's already formatted. That's one app that I use. Some people, I notice a big thing that a lot of people use, Comic Tom is great at it, is that boomerang. You familiar with your boomerangs? Where he'll be looking through.
I've played with it a little bit. It's still something I still need to kind of implement more.
Right. I don't do it. I tried doing one. It looked like I was like picking my nose or something like that. But Comic Tom is great at it. So kudos to him. I haven't figured it out yet. Some of them, I'm not saying Comic Tom's, but I've seen some boomerangs where it's like kind of cheesy, and I'm like, I don't like that. And I've seen some that's really great.
Right.
I mean, it's that whole, you see something. For those that aren't familiar with what a boomerang is, it's like if you'll see something taking a book, and it's basically just one motion where they pull it out, and it boomerangs back. So you get they look through the long box, pull it up, put it out. Gotta watch what I'm saying, but anyhow, some of them are really good, some are really bad. I think it's all how you use it. Is there any other apps that? Because I noticed like some of your IGTV, the way you're editing with the Comic Book Invest or the CBSI logo. What are you using for some of that?
Wonder Video has been a lot of the editing tool that I've been using, and it allows you to take either simple. It's really a simple mobile app that will allow you to take videos and pictures and kind of streamlessly put them together, put music behind it, add in text graphics, add in. And be honest with you, every day I find something else new that I can do with it, and that can kind of make it better. And like it's kind of like how we talked about before we got on. Every time you look at content that you create, you're always kind of sitting there going, "Oh man, I could do this differently. I could make this better." But that's what's kind of been good on it, is the more that I play with it, the more that I'm kind of learning and making things a little crisper and a little cleaner. And there are definitely people out there that are doing their thing with it. With the video editing and things like that, which is, again, one of the reasons why we reach out to people. And then again, even just having this conversation with you, I'm going to go download the apps that you're talking about and mess with them. So it's definitely been like an education period playing with it. And I thought kind of our growth would be slow during that period, but it's been kind of rapid. So it's only going to get better.
Right. So another one, another app that I've used that I know some people use, especially like the big photography Instagram people use, is a couple apps. One's called Snapseed. Snapseed lets you take your picture and use more filters, more tools to edit that picture right from your phone. You can do the exposure, brightness, contrast. You can add frames to it. You can add text to it. A lot of people do word bubbles, like you'll see on Instagram, especially with comic books. A lot of people do contest giveaways and stuff like that. So Snapseed's a good one. And then there's another one called Lens Distortion. Now, I'm an Apple person. I use an iPhone, but I know pretty much sure most of these are available on Android or Apple. I don't know about Windows Phone. I don't know if anyone uses Windows phones anymore or Blackberries. I'm sure some people out there use them. But So there's a whole bunch of different apps out there. I'm still learning. I'm still fairly new to Instagram. I mean, I probably posted more from the CBSI Instagram account than I have Simpleman's Comics or my own personal. Usually my personal one, it's like, hey, look at me. I'm smoking this pork butt and I got a beer in my hand or something like that. But what have you thought about going and doing any like I don't get out to, there's not many LCSs around me, but have you thought about doing like Instagram stories or photos of like maybe Wednesday Warrior, comic book hunts, or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. So like, one of the things that I want to try to establish, and it's going to take time because we've got to really build the Instagram community and get them used to using certain hashtags and certain terms. But that's why we've started using like the hashtag CBSI Wednesday Warrior. And what I encourage every CBSI member to do, and anyone, any of our Instagram followers or anybody on Instagram, is if you're picking up your Wednesday hauls, hashtag them, hashtag CBSI Wednesday Warrior, and we will periodically check those and repost them and things like that. We're also working on the hashtag CBSI Bolo, which has obviously, that's drawn a lot of laughter from certain crowds, but the term bolo comes from the reselling community. Like I said, I come from sneakers and baseball cards. It's very popular in the fashion community. So a lot of times it stands for be on the lookout, and it's kind of like your way of letting somebody know, like, hey, you need to check this out. This is out there. There's whether it's a deal or a limited time availability item, just something you're letting people know, and that's something that we want to provide for our community. So CBSI Bolo has been a big one, and that has come from us, but it doesn't have to come from us. If you want to let people in the community know that there's a deal out there, you tag it, hashtag CBSI Bolo, and I'll check those periodically and repost those and let the community know. And that's the great thing about Instagram, is that it's interactive. So using those hashtags and continuing to develop those hashtags, getting people familiar with those hashtags, we will only kind of build on that. So those are the ones I've kind of started with.
All right. So Jack, tell us a little bit more on Instagram. I am working on getting your video feed back in this video.
What's up?
Go ahead and talk about what you want about Instagram. I am actually working on trying to get your video feed back in this live stream so people can see you.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, we've been developing the hashtags, and we've been working on that. We're trying to create content around that. So on Wednesdays, we've been releasing the CBSI Bolo list. And the point of the CBSI Bolo list, it's not a list telling you, say, go buy this, which is what you'll get from a lot of kind of speculation communities. We're not a brokerage house, so we're not out here telling you where to put your money. The goal of CBSI is to give you all the information, and the long-standing saying in CBSI has been, buy what you like. And that's kind of what we talked about in the beginning. So what I want to try to do is give you all the information of the books that are releasing that day that have kind of been buzzing on the internet. And that's sort of the tool of the CBSI Instagram, is to kind of be the summary of what's going on in speculation. So my goal is every Wednesday morning to be able to hit you with that list, letting you know any notable first appearances that we've been able to hear about, any events or shortages. We were able to get information about Die releasing hours before a lot of other people were able to. And we've been able to do that through, again, developing relationships. One of those key relationships has been retailers. And a lot of times within speculation communities, there's almost a push and pull between retailers and speculators, because speculators, at times we can have bad reputations with retailers, and in turn, a lot of retailers are bad-mouthed within speculation communities. We want to dead that. we're looking to work with retailers. The reality of the situation is the comic book industry needs people at kind of every point. And working with retailers, whether it be getting information, finding out how things are moving, has been kind of a key. It's been something that I have worked on extensively in my time in CBSI, is just developing those relationships. So we're able to get that kind of information. The CBSI Bolo list, even though that's something that I post every week, it's not something that, say, I'm doing. That's something that's a kind of collective gathering of information. And so that kind of goes along with that CBSI Bolo. Another kind of, for instance, is I got a text message today about Books A Million having the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, a lot of the statues and the previews type stuff, for much less than what they're going for on eBay. So I was able to put the post up, CBSI Bolo, let everybody know if that's your thing. It's out there. If not, either way. And once again, that goes along with the toy collecting kind of aspect of CBSI, because CBSI is more than just speculating on comics. It's our main thing. That's our biggest area. But we also have some small side groups that are more niche, whether it's Golden Age collecting or, like I said, toy collecting or original art. So we're trying to branch out, and we're trying to develop as many kind of connections within the industry, relationships within the industry. And we have found Instagram to be a very kind of positive platform for that. The number one hashtag is IG Comic Family, and that's kind of the way the Instagram community looks at it. It's a real family aspect. It's a real kind of sharing aspect versus some other platforms like Google, where it's real competitive. So we've seen steady growth. I love to see people tagging their friends, letting their friends know when we put a post up. That has benefited us. That has led to increased followers. And I encourage even more feedback. Let us know what kind of content you like. Let us know what kind of content maybe you're not into. We definitely want to post. One thing I hear is that people want to see more books, and that's something we definitely want to work to. And that's something that we definitely want to lean on the community. You know, if you get a great buy and you want to brag about it, let us know. If you see something rare, or, you know, we want to participate in hashtags like Multiple Comic Monday and Throwback Thursday and things like that. So, you know, if you come up on a stash, you know, send us a picture. We'd love to see it. The DMs are open. You can reach out to us at any time. If you've got an idea for a column for comicbookinvest.com, I encourage, reach out. If, you know, you're a retailer and you want to partner with CBSI, we have good relationships with Wanted Comics, with Scott's Collectibles. We just recently did an agreement with Fan Expo, so we will be running some Fan Expo contests. There's actually one on the site right now. And so we run contests for all of these people. We give away some of the exclusive variants for conventions on the site. We hope to be running some of those through Instagram. We're actually approaching 1,500 followers, and I'd like to do something for that 1,500 mark if we can. So that's kind of that next big target.
You say we're almost at 1,500. What have you seen? Because I've noticed since you've been posting, the growth rate is like, our follower rate has increased a lot, and a lot of that, I think the credit belongs to you for the posts that you've done, the hashtags, the reaching out. You definitely, I won't say more aggressive isn't the right word, but you definitely have I'll just say aggressive. You reach out and you
yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm always more like,
yeah.
I never really reached out to people. I was kind of, I was like, I put the feed out and hope the deer would come to the feeder. But you're going out and actively pursuing people and creating those relationships, which I think is awesome. I've been more passive in that regard. So kudos to you for doing that. We do have you back on video. I don't know if you noticed that yet. So
all right.
Don't.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, don't go picking your nose or anything like that. I'm kidding.
You know?
So I got that figured out. We're good. We're streaming good. Content's good, I believe. So have at it, man. Tell us about that growth rate you've been creating.
So the first thing that I saw is, like I said, I think you did a great job when you were, running it by yourself. I definitely think you were getting overwhelmed. But we have a lot of content that comes out on the site. So what ends up happening is we want to post every article, and we will, and we want to give each writer their shine, and we want to also let everybody know about each article on the site, because as we said, the site is the flagship. But at the same point, there's a marketing strategy by a online marketer, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, as he's called, popular on YouTube,
Gary's
called
awesome.
Jab Jab, Jab 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 Right Hook. So I wanted to try to implement that with our page, and I really attribute a lot of the success to that. And the idea behind that is, for every time that we ask them, say, to come to comicbookinvest.com, which is a right hook. I'm trying to knock you out. I'm trying to win. I want you to come to the site. I want you to be a reader. For every time I'm going to ask you to do that, I want to give you 3 jabs. I want to give you 3 pieces of what I call free CBSI content, whether or not it's a Titans trailer or a character design for Jason Latour's upcoming Spider-Geddon book. But some piece of content that you can, you're getting from that other than the articles. And I really think by doing that and diversifying the content so that our page isn't just an advertisement for the website, and it's become its own like living thing. And I really think that that's what's increased the growth rate, because even if you weren't a Google Plus CBSI person, you may find that the Instagram is for you. And, like we said, every platform's different. So some people are going to, respond to Facebook better or respond to that. And I just thought that implementing that within Instagram would really work. And I've just been really, honestly, overwhelmingly surprised by how well it's done. Like I said, we've increased 40% in like a month. And, we're approaching 1,500, which is not a big number, but it's big in comparison to where we were, and it is an indication of where we're going. I have high hopes and dreams. I think we can get 10,000 followers. There's a lot of retail stores that have 10,000, 20,000 followers. But to be honest with you, the number of followers isn't important. It's just an active community of people that want to participate and that want to share content. We also want to foster a positive community, and I think we've worked well to do that. And yeah, that comes through reaching out, and which is another thing that I feel like I got kind of from the Gary V kind of school of marketing, where it's collaboration is key, not being kind of, it's all about me. So reaching out to people and letting them know, listen, I'm confident in what CBSI is. I'm very confident that CBSI is a leader in the community. So I feel like I'm confident putting it out there to people. And what I've found is when I put it out there to people, that they're receptive, whether it's getting interviews on video with Donnie Cates or Jason Latour, or getting to film panels with Kevin Eastman. CBSI has opened doors for me personally to be able to get a lot of places and to sit down with people that probably wouldn't have done so without it. So you being able to spread that to a whole new platform, and has it also, again, encouraged me to then reach out to people, see who we can get to kind of fly this CBSI flag. And the more that people we reach out and work with people, the more we're just spreading. We're spreading to new areas and new relationships. So we have a couple that were in the works, probably shouldn't talk about just yet, but I hope something will come of that. I think we'll bring in.
Yeah, just say we got stuff in the pipeline. But yeah, that's one thing I've noticed, especially since since we both are in the same account, I noticed the DMs get light up more. And every now and then I try to look after there's not a notification because I know it's not me generating the messages. But looking at some of the DMs, there's relationships being built, relationships being established there that, to be honest, I didn't have that avenue of thinking. I didn't think some of those relationships were possible. But I mean, you had some of those relationships while you were establishing some of that when you were doing some of your con recons, and you had some of your interviews with like Donnie Cates and some other comic industry people. I noticed Donnie Cates isn't a big Instagram guy.
Yeah, I can't get him on the Instagram train.
I'll tell you who.
I've tried.
I'll tell you who is really cool on Instagram. Vault Comics for one. I'm not just plugging them, but I mean I've been in love with Vault Comics. There's a guy who's on my Patreon page, Rajim. He's the one that kind of turned me on to Vault because he lives in Montana and there's big Vault headquarters out there in Montana. And he asked me if I read any Vault books. I said, yeah. Well, then he started saying, hey, these are coming out. And I started, looking into it more. So like Alien Bounty Hunter, Wasted Space, Submerged that just came out. He's established relationships with Adrian Wassel, who's one of the writers for Alien Bounty Hunter. And I started following him on Instagram, started not DMing, but just commenting on his stuff. And there's almost like a back and forth on comments. But those Vault guys are great. Adrian Wassel is great. They got Alien Bounty Hunter trade paperback that just came out. Awesome book. I would recommend picking that up. But so there's a lot of relationship building there. And like you mentioned before, the great thing about Instagram is it's not like we're just trying to get followers, but we want to grow the community and create those relationships not just with industry people, but with comic collectors such as ourselves, and have that conversation going. Because
well, when I say the DMs are open, it's not just, I don't just mean to creators or to corporation. We have people just messaging us, asking us questions, and we're open to that. I can't promise how quickly we can always get back to you about everything, but I have tried actively to respond to every single DM and every single question in the comments of any post, and that kind of relationship with those who follow us is what we're looking for. We're trying to build relationships with people so that in the future, anything with that CBSI logo on it, anything that is attached to the brand, you're going to want to be a part of because you have an idea of what that is through the experience that you get on Instagram.
Right, and I'll say the same. Not that many people want to DM me, but hey, my Instagram handle's up there on the screen right now. If you guys feel like DMing me, I'll always answer. My communication method has been more YouTube. Like I said, I'm more new to Instagram, but if anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm always happy to talk to anyone about comics. I'm definitely not the smartest comic book person. Like, Ben C is like the freaking Gandalf of, especially if you're talking Golden Age and Bronze Age. He's Gandalf. Me, I'm just like, yeah, I like comics. That's kick-ass word bubble. Cool. But so has there been anyone, you mentioned Comic Tom, is there anyone that you can talk about or want to talk about as far as what you've been communicating with Instagram?
I've talked we've reached out to a couple of retailers that we felt like we're doing a good job, that we're providing quality for the customers, and we've definitely talked to a couple retailers that we want to do something with. It's just a matter of what, because CBSI has never been, we've released like some variants in the past, but we're not like real product oriented, because again, we're a news website. We're not trying to just sell you stuff, and we don't want to ever become overly sales driven, but there's a lot that we can do. So we've talked to some people. Nothing's finalized, but we've talked to IG Comic Store is a person that we've been back and forth with. We appreciate what they do. They appreciate what we do. And so we've had a lot of those type of conversations where part of building these relationships has just been reaching out to people and just say, hey, I appreciate what you do. I like what you do. And we talked to several creators. It's crazy right now with San Diego Comic Con, but I would like to hopefully set something up with IGTV to be able to do things like sort of like this broadcast here, to be able to do interviews and things like that. So I've been able to build relationships with Jason Latour, Donnie Cates, Rico Renzi, who have all been very supportive of what we've done with CBSI. So we're hoping to have some of that come along. Right now, we're as far as relationships that we've built, we're really pushing. The Fan Expo is newest. They run great conventions across the country and internationally, as I know they're in Canada, and so they are a big supporter of the site, and so we want to support them back. They've donated a ton of books to be able to give away to readers of the site. We've got a contest up on the site right now. So we're definitely open for more relationships like that. I know Awesome Collectibles is another one that we kind of had a little pleasantries with. And even on a corporate level, Cheeto Comics, a smaller IDW publishing. So I have high hopes in the future. Is just a process of letting people know that we're open to discuss things, and that we want to build relationships with people. We want to be able to be a trusted news source that people can come to, and it just starts with letting people know that we're available. Some of the best advice I've gotten about comics, the comics industry, is that so much of success in this is just being nice. Just be a nice guy. So reaching out to people, letting them know, hey, I appreciate what you do. If you ever want to do something with us, we're open to it. People have been really receptive to that. So I think that we'll continue to do that. And I encourage anyone who sees this or sees anything, on our IG to reach out to us.
Right. What about Natalie Sanders? You've been in communication with her at all?
Not really. Just kind of like the likes back and forth type deal. Definitely would like to do that. There's several artists on IG, even ones who aren't necessarily at the, say, Marvel or DC level, who I would like to talk to and work with. There's a lot of like artists that are synonymous with IG, even on a big level. Boss Logic reached out to us within the last week to just show appreciation over a little slideshow that we had made.
So yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but if anyone's not familiar with Boss Logic, especially on IG, you definitely gotta check out their page, because they do a lot of movie poster type stuff, graphics, athletes. I mean, I look at some of his stuff and I don't even know how they freaking do it, but I didn't mean to cut you off.
He's constantly reposted by actors, and he's got like 800,000 followers. So he's doing his first variant covers ever for with Planet Awesome Collectibles at San Diego Comic Con. He's doing 4 covers for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 from IDW, and obviously he uses a Photoshop art style, but crazy realism. So it's difficult to describe. I suggest everybody go check it out. But I think the set of 4 is going to be very popular. So when I saw it, we were talking about the type of content. That was something I thought that the IG community would want to see. A member of their own who had kind of made it to the level of now releasing covers. And it was cool to see somebody like him who, a lot of us are very familiar with, reach out and be like, hey, man, I appreciate that you did this. So hopefully, we can open up avenues, like I said, with somebody like that to be able to work with. It's all about just trying to figure out what to do. What's the right move? What's the right strategic partnership? But we want to do that. We want to be open. We want to be, working with people and get the name out in all different kind of avenues.
So another thing I noticed that's big on Instagram is cosplay, right? Cosplay is huge.
Right.
That's one thing that I thought about and like to do is especially starting this live stream, is collab with some of those cosplay people. I mean, let people know, hey, how much effort do you put into this costume? What goes on? I also look at those cosplay people, and you know how we all get, especially kids, we all get excited for Halloween because everyone gets, what are you gonna be for Halloween? I look at all these cosplay people, and I wonder if they're just like, that's a Thursday to me, because they're always doing crazy and buku money for some of these costumes that they put together, and some of them are freaking fabulous at it. I'd love to do collab or even a live stream like this with some of them, and let's talk about it, because I don't know anything about it, and I'd like to learn more.
Well, I agree, and I definitely am in that boat as well. I am fascinated going to cons and seeing some of the costumes. One of the most popular pieces of content that I put out with Heroes Con was a video of the kind of parade of cosplayers, and you just got to see like the magnitude of X-Men characters all lined up, and it's really cool. And there's not only are there a lot of very successful cosplayers, a lot of cosplayers who do it on a big level. There's also cosplay media and some organizations that we could partner with and get some content that I think would be great. And that's an example of like cosplay doesn't necessarily fit in the G Plus page, but it works on Instagram because it's a visual, it's a visual medium, and the cosplay scene is so big on Instagram. I think I fit into kind of the category with you where it's like I'm a 33-year-old dude who doesn't always feel comfortable at conventions walking up to scantily clad women and being like, hey, can I take your picture for comicbookinvest.com? But but if it's definitely something that I want to delve into more in the future. And another thing about cosplay is a lot of times we talk adult to adult, but when I take my daughters to the convention, cosplay is like their favorite thing. Not even dressing up, but seeing people in cosplay. Because to them, it's the same way as like when you take your kid to see Santa Claus at the mall. To them, they're getting to see Spider-Man and Wonder Woman and all the Teen Titans characters. And so there's a lot of ways in which I think cosplay is real beneficial, and I want to try to do more and more with it.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, I'm looking where the video is. Oh. Here we go.
I'll say if not,
and we're back.
Okay.
Nope, I think I did that.
Okay, we're good. Well, hold on. Yeah, we're good.
Yep.
Let me do this.
That was my fault. Mid-ramble.
Bam. I'm just fixing it back up again. All right. Got you on there. All right. We got you back. But so yeah, because you were talking about how Boss Logic, if you look at some of those cosplayers, they got hundreds of thousands of followers too, and
right, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, and then of course they're running their Patreon page. So I mean, they're not just dressing up. It's a brand and it's a business.
It's a business. Yeah.
I mean, look at.
I've seen at convention. Oh, go ahead.
Look at Dynamite. Half their variants is usually a cosplay variant that has these variants. The people that are on Instagram, and look at my Red Sonja cover. Look at my Vampirella cover, and they're making good money.
You're starting to see in Artist Alley. You're starting to see prominent cosplayers set up in Artist Alley at bigger conventions. I'm seeing that more and more. I'm seeing businesses set up at conventions to kind of fix costumes if there's issues mid convention, so that area of the business is expanding. I don't think it's going anywhere. I know some old school dealers complained about it early on, but I don't think it's going anywhere, and I think it just includes more people, especially the more kind of female comic book fans we can have. I think that's a positive thing. So whatever avenue gets people into it, I'm cool with. And I want our Instagram to kind of represent that. And then also, like you said, they have follower bases that are enormous, that far exceed most of like the real comic book based organizations. So I definitely think we can benefit from reaching out and establishing relationships. So if anybody knows of any specific cosplayers or we need to be in touch with, leave it in the comments. Message me directly, DM us, let us know. And that goes for anything. If there's anybody we need to be working with or getting in touch with, let us know. We definitely want to do that.
Right, I agree. CBSI, reach out to any of us, because yeah, definitely both of us want to get hold of that. And if it is on my channel, it's definitely gonna be a CBSI collaboration. I like to collaborate with CBSI as much as I can, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my channel kind of grew out of CBSI. Posting pickups, posted a bunch of stuff. I started looking at, hey, how can I make this a little bit different? Next thing I know, I was making like a little mini haul video, or I was using, good time to bring this up is Ben Stein's top 10. I was like,
right.
how can we bring more attention to the top 10? So I started playing around with some video, and next thing I know, it's just like, oh, let me throw some other stuff that I don't think fits on the CBSI page. I'll create my own page and create some content for that. And then while I was doing that, I was like, well, we can do like a weekly picks. And then I reached out to Trey or whoever at the time and said, hey, would you be interested in this on your site? And give a collab between the two with Inigo. So that's kind of how my channel grew. So I definitely always give as much love as I can to CBSI, because, I mean, to me, I don't understand why sometimes there's a big divide in comics. Everyone, especially like all the YouTube communities who deal with comics, all great people, but there's always like the freaking Jets and the Sharks when it comes to some comic books.
Right.
And me personally, I don't understand it. I'll talk to anyone about comic books. I do some speculating, but a lot of the speculating I do is I keep to myself, just because I don't have the time or the energy to deal with some of the negative stuff that comes out of who posts what first and who's right. It's nonsense to me. So, not to get off topic here, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but
but that's the thing, is that's where, and that's what brought me, like I said, to wanting to get involved more with Instagram, is the way that kind of speculation, whether it's Google Plus or whether it's just speculation in general, it kind of has become that, where it became a kind of one-upsmanship, and like I said, where it's like a brokerage firm. We don't want to be your brokerage firm. We don't want to be the ones telling you what to invest in. We want to be able to give you the information and kind of let you do that and make that decision for yourself. And some of the other platforms have provided that. Google is the mothership. That's where we started. That's where our largest follower base is. But moving into other directions has definitely kind of allowed us to have that different element, and like your channel to me is the blueprint for what I'm trying to push to other people, because you've been able to establish yourself and establish a following, and at the same time, everywhere Simpleman's is, you still see CBSI. You still know that that's CBSI, and that's what I want to promote to other people, and what I've pitched, for instance, to and I'm going to put this out there because I've almost got this thing wrapped up, so it's going to happen. But Comic Tom, it's where I've talked to him. I was like, he needs to be CBSI. When you see Comic Tom, you need to think CBSI. And he has his own brand and his own following. But at the same point, we can benefit from each other, where he can put out his content, and at the same point, CBSI can help promote it, and it's content for us, and it's a base of followers for him in the same way it is for you. And it doesn't take away from CBSI in any bit. And that's where I think everyone goes, is because when you first start creating content, you start small and then you kind of build out, and then, like, you've gotten yourself to a point where, you know, you've got your follower base, you're putting out your weekly picks, you're getting great numbers. I don't want to misquote your numbers, but I know you do quite the following on a weekly basis. So that's what I want to say to people, to creators out there like yourself who are out there doing their own thing. I'm not trying to tell you not to do your own thing. Do your own thing. But we can absolutely work together, and we're trying to accomplish so many of the same things. Everybody's trying to grow. Everybody's trying to grow, and it's not based upon follower numbers, but like we said, based upon, you know, an interactive community. Develop your interactive community, and keep increasing that, and increasing your, you know, footprint within the community. And I think that it's easier to do that a lot of times together than it is to compete with everybody. I mean, we're not in competition with each other.
I definitely agree. And I kind of want to rewind just a little bit, looking at the chat. So when we were talking about cosplay, was it DDK Comics brought up that, I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm just going to say Jessica N. It says, kills at cosplaying. It's a full-time job. Adam Anthony said Jessica's a sweetheart. And then Adam Levidick, our Wednesday one author, they also, so
yes,
there's a bunch of them out there. Of course, a lot of times I look at the cosplay name and it's like all strung together. So I know the cosplay name and I know the picture, so I know the person. But
right.
And then Adam asked, how about getting involved with the handicap community within comics? That's kind of a good question. I mean, are you aware of? I mean, I don't know of any. Me, the only thing I've done is like children's hospital type stuff where I've donated books,
right?
But nothing specifically to like the handicap community. I've sent books overseas to people I knew from the Marine Corps that were overseas at the time, and then broadened it and sent books and stuff to reach out to soldiers and people that were serving overseas. But never really specific handicap community. So I don't even really know where to reach out to begin.
No, actually, Adam Anthony fascinates me, because when I first became familiar with him and started talking with him in chats, I wasn't even aware that, like, say, a blind person was reading comics, and that there were those avenues out there. I think that's awesome. I'm a little ignorant to that too. I've done some of the same things. I'm big on comics in schools. You know, the younger you can get readers involved, the better. But actually, one of my best friends is in a wheelchair. He's handicapped. I've actually got his signature edition shirt on. He manages a skate shop, Blue Tile, in Columbia, South Carolina. But you know, as far as in the comics industry, honestly, I haven't heard it. But that's another thing where I'm very open to, because I haven't heard people doing anything for people, for handicapped people. So I would encourage Adam Anthony, let me know what's going on. What do we need to be doing?
Right. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's in the chat. So if you want to message, if you have ideas that, you know, to get outreach to handicapped communities, by all means. You're talking about young leaders. I have a 7-year-old boy that just finished first grade. At the beginning of first grade, we were like frustrated, banging our heads against the wall with like sight words. Like what the heck? You just knew this like last night. Now you can't read. And then like all of a sudden, halfway through the year, all of a sudden some light bulb went off, and he's sitting here reading. Like I'm like, holy cow! So I've taken him a couple times to the comic book store. We got my local comic book store is Third Eye Comics. Awesome comic book shop, by the way. I have the smaller location here by me in Southern Maryland. They got their big flagship store up in Annapolis, which is huge. But I'll take them in there. When I first took them, they didn't read. All they wanted was Funko Pops or all the expensive mystery blind boxes that were like little piece of crap toys for $15 by the register. Now I take them, and he's picking up Captain Underpants. There's another one. something, a dog that's written by the same people, Captain Underpants. I bought him a Incredibles 2 comic that came out last week. He's reading all of it. I picked him up Teen Titans Go. And it's funny because I take my stuff up to the counter and all of the books I got, bags and boards. And they're like, what about this one? I was like, don't worry about that one. That's my kid's comic. He's going to read it. And sure enough, you know how it is. Freaking gets all ripped up. But definitely enjoy. It's like me. You know, I look at it like I'm indoctrinating my kid into comics now. Right.
Right.
But anything to get him reading, and he enjoys it. So I'm all power to it. So I'll talk comics with anyone. I might not know everything, but I'll share. That's part of the reason why I even have a YouTube channel is, hey, let's talk comics and Simpleman's comics. Let's keep comics simple yet satisfying. That's all I want to do. But
I have two daughters myself. You and I have talked about this. I have two daughters, 4 and 7, same ages as your kids. And comics, we talked about getting back into comics. Comics have been this cool bridge between me and my kids because, you know, if I was still prospecting, which is like speculating for baseball cards or flipping sneakers, you wouldn't have that same. My kid can't enjoy sneakers the way that I can, but she can appreciate comic books, and you know, so finding titles that we can enjoy together, whether it be you know, Spider-Gwen or something like that, has been a good time. That's been a cool thing. Anytime as a parent you can do something with your kids, but then you also enjoy it, that's an added benefit.
So, also, you mentioned San Diego Comic-Con earlier. One thing I wanted to let people know is Nick Hart, which I always want to say Kevin Hart. It's not Kevin Hart. It's Nick Hart. Instagram tag is Heartless Art, right? He's on the scene. He goes to San Diego Comic-Con every year. So before he went this weekend, I was like, hey, do you mind if we share your Comic-Con post on the CBSI page? And he's like, hey, man, have at it. So some of the stuff we've been sharing, he's our on-the-scene reporter type thing. But if anyone else is in Comic-Con, man, we tag it with SDCC CBSI. Or did you already give a tag?
Yes.
So tag us, man, and then we will share your posts on the CBSI page as well, because everyone knows San Diego Comic-Con is the mother of all Comic-Cons. Might be more pop culture than comics, but dude, it's a huge event. It's like the mecca of Comic-Cons pretty much. And we want to share everyone else's information, share your pictures. We definitely will give you credit. Usually we just do the repost. That was one app I didn't mention when I was talking about the apps I use. There's a repost app. There's a bunch of other ones, and it basically will repost you, give you credit, and even tag you in it. So that way, it's basically us just sharing your content to other viewers. So,
right.
Go ahead.
And that's what we're looking for. If anytime you're at a convention, you know, be sure to tag us. Be sure to let us know. We will repost, you know, any content that you pick up.
So I don't want to like abruptly end this, but if anyone has anything else, I mean, we've kind of worn the tires off Instagram page. Once again, also make sure you check out comicbookinvest.com. Bunch of great contests going on. What was it? The Fan Expo, Scott's Collectibles. What was the other one? There's
Wanted Comics.
Wanted Comics.
Owned by CBSI member.
So
definitely want to shout them out. They've run some great contests.
I will tell you, Jack nor myself do not control advertising for comicbookinvest.com or the website or anything like that. So if you want to advertise, by all means, make sure you send an email to admin@comicbookinvest.com. That's who you need to reach out to for any advertising. Collaborations, definitely reach out to us. We're more than willing to collaborate with pretty much anyone, man. Whether it's CBSI or I'll speak for myself. If you guys want to collaborate on Simpleman's comics, by all means, reach out. I don't know if you guys... we're going to take this time. If anyone has questions in the chat, feel free to ask anything because, hey, this is y'all's conversation too, and we're just here to shoot it. I don't want to say the other words. shoot the shocks. Holy Fushnickens. But, so, Popcom, he's in the chat. Awesome Funko Pop channel. If you guys like Funko Pops, definitely give him a check. Check him out. He's saying that they're in the process of making a line of Jim Lee series Pops. That could be pretty cool. The only thing that's hard with that is...
I just saw that.
They kind of would have to change the design a little bit, wouldn't you think? Because Jim Lee has that character art, and then Funko Pop has that characteristic art. It's kind of like, how would they make it so you know, well, that's Jim Lee Batman, and not just Funko Pop Batman?
That was my initial reaction when I saw the first image for the Jim Lee. I don't know if it's gonna be a series, I think, but was, you know, with the Funko Pop style, it kind of takes away from it. But still, for a lower end collector, somebody who wasn't trying to spend a ton of money on, say, a Jim Lee statue, it's still pretty cool. It's pretty cool if you're, you know, for a Pop fan. I like to see them kind of elevating and changing and doing things like that.
Do you collect Pops?
I don't. My girlfriend does. She has a ton of them. My kids do. I have bought and sold Pops, but I don't personally collect them.
So I collect. I won't say I collect a lot of Pops. I had the Marvel Collector Core subscription for a while, and I had the Smuggler Bounty subscription. I had the Marvel Collector Core longer than that, but the ones I definitely buy are, of course, the Masters of the Universe Pops, which I was talking to Popcom in chat. Two of the SDCC Pops for Masters of the Universe was Ram Man and Stinkor, and Stinkor was like the toy, it's scented, and I think it was FYE exclusive, and then Toy Tokyo did the Ram Man, but they were selling before Comic-Con. Ram Man's still like $200. But I noticed the Stinkor that came out, a lot of people have that on eBay for $40, which to me, even at the time right now, I'm like, man, that's a lot of money for a Pop. And it's not my, I'm not like a Funko Pop collector. I want to have it because of Masters of the Universe, but I kind of want to wait. No, me, I'll be Friday night looking at eBay and go, I don't care, and I'll just buy the damn thing. But so I collect the Masters of the Universe Funkos, and then there's just some things that it's always based on nostalgia, where it'd be like some of the Hanna-Barbera ones or the music artist ones, but I'm not a huge... I think I have more Funkos than I need, but then I end up buying more for some reason. Because I'll see something, like, they came out with baseball ones, so I'm a Giants fan.
There's so many.
Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, and there was a Buster Posey one, so I was comic book store. I was like, oh, I have to have that. And then the next thing you know, I'm like, and my kids buy them. Well, I buy them for my kids, and they're like, look at this, I got Abu from Aladdin. And like 5 minutes later, you don't know where the hell it is, and I'm like, well, what'd you do with it? I don't know. Like my 7-year-old just got, what's the Incredibles 2 villain, Screenslaver? I got him that, and he already lost it. But is there anything outside of comics that you collect right now?
Comics wise, right now, nah. Be honest with you, I've been doing a lot as far as PC stuff. It's all been about like reclaiming that childhood stuff, that stuff that you kind of missed out on. Other than that, I am one of those speculators that my most enjoyable thing I do in comics is buying a comic and selling it for a profit. I know that that's not always the most popular thing to say, but it's the truth. It's what I enjoy. So I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to follow and learn what other people are doing, and that's kind of. The speculation game is kind of where I put, I'd say, most of my focus, most of my energy. All
right. So, one other thing outside of comics that I I buy some of every little thing. Like I'll buy some action figures, but one of the other bigger things that I actually spend money on is sideshow statues. So I'll buy sideshow statues, and I'll do pre-orders.
Big boy toys.
Yeah, like I got the Michael Keaton Batman from the '89 Batman because that's like iconic, right? That's kind of what got me into, outside of Archie, that's what got me into comics. So I bought the Michael Keaton Batman statue, got Hulk, armored Batman. I have a Mumra statue for Thundercats pre-ordered, but they're expensive. But I find it's like a mental thing for me if I pre-order it when they first announce it and pay $40 a month rather than $400 or $500.
It doesn't feel, yeah.
So I'm like, well, it's $40 a month, and then it's like the month that ships, it's like, I don't know, add $20 for shipping onto it, but. And then of course I bought a couple of them, and then I'm such a dummy. I was like, well, now I need to buy more storage. So I went to IKEA and bought freaking shelves that this premium format statue was actually fit on. So yeah, it's a big, I won't say a sinkhole, but it's definitely an avenue to spend money. And I look at it this way: you're like you mentioned, and everyone mentions, you're buying nostalgia stuff that you grew up watching, or stuff that usually has some type of an emotional response to why you're picking it up. And I was thinking about
different things speak to different people.
Right, and I was thinking about when I was like driving home from work the other day, like what makes it different than like my parents, or I was like, what did my parents buy when I was a kid? And my mom liked antiques, right? She bought a bunch of antique stuff, or my dad would collect. He's from Nebraska, so it was all like Tom Osborne and Nebraska Cornhusker stuff. But it was always stuff that had an emotional attachment, nostalgia to them. And in a way, the stuff I'm buying is antiques. It's something from the ties to something from my youth, or it's got some type of emotional attachment to it that I buy it. It's not just like, oh, but that looks cool. There's usually something that has a meaning to it for why you purchase it. Mumra, you're like, dude, I grew up watching Thundercats or Batman or Green Lantern. It's all. So I enjoy it, and I'm glad I have the ability to do so. Wife doesn't understand sometimes. Like, why are you buying that? And I'm like, why are you buying LuLaRoe leggings? But
right.
Although my statue's cost a little bit more than some leggings, but yeah.
A little bit.
But so yeah, Sideshow I buy, and it sucks because once you get on that mailing list, anytime something comes out, especially like this weekend with the SDCC going on, they're hitting you with, look at this that's coming out. Look at this that's coming out. And I think at one time I had like 3 statues or six scale figures pre-ordered at once, and I was staggering, like, because your monthly payments, you can stagger the dates of when they come out. So I had like 3 pre-orders, and I had them staggered from like the 1st, the 15th, and the 25th of the month, trying to move money around to like, oh, okay, you could take it out at this time. But yeah. But so just looking in the chat real quick, like Regime says, we got Regime. He's in the house now. I'm glad he was able to join. Of course, we're kind of at the tail end of it, but Regime, I gave a huge shout out to you and Vault Comics earlier, so definitely want to thank you for that. And Adam Anthony's talking about how about doing other comic book related items on the main page, like I'll tell you right now, like, I couldn't do that because I'll be straight up honest with you. I'm lazy. I don't like, if I'm like, oh, there's a flea market, I'll check it out. But I'm not like, hey, let's go flea market. I won't say lazy, but with kids, a wife that works retail, so every other weekend, it's to me, it's not feasible to go picking all the time. Usually I'm like calling in sick to work. I'm like, ugh. And next thing I know, because the closest other LCS to me is usually about an hour and a half away. But do you do? Do you have a lot of comic book stores near you?
I'm having Charlotte close to me. I'm pretty blessed. There are, as far as like things to dig back issue wise, not a ton. New comics we're taken care of, but as far as digging back issues, I've got to kind of wait for shows. I'm lucky that there's a dealer based out of South Carolina. I'm right on the border of North and South Carolina, so there's a dealer based out of South Carolina who runs shows every other month. There's another dealer based out of North Carolina who runs Heroes Convention. Heroes aren't hard to find, and they do shows quarterly. So between those regularly, there's a lot of hunting opportunities in the area. But I've definitely been to other areas of the country. It's nothing compared to what you got up north in, say, New York area or some of the bigger city areas. But I can't complain compared to what some other people have to go through.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I got that smaller Third Eye Comics, and the big one up in Annapolis within the past 2 years is actually, I noticed it a year ago because last year at Baltimore Comic Con, we were going to go back Sunday morning, but then of course someone pulled the fire alarm. So me and my buddy were like, dude, let's just go to Third Eye in Annapolis on the way home. And we noticed that they had added back issues. They had a lot of back issues. So since then, the Annapolis Third Eye has a lot of back issues to go through. But great guys, great people, but they're also kind of aware of what they have. So it's not like a lot of great deals in there, but they do work with you.
Right.
And you can say, hey, I want to buy the, especially that Sunday I went, you're in Comic-Con mode, so you're into like, hey, I got all these, how much for all these? So it like carried over when I was at Third Eye for the back issues. You were like, hey, how much for all these? They'd cut you a deal. But some of the
I do my best buying honestly from people who don't know me, because you go into a store and they know you and they know what you're doing and what that you sell, and buying multiple copies and things like that. So I do some of my best buying when I'm out of town,
right.
Actually not at my regular LCS.
Right. And one thing I like about Third Eye here is they get a lot of their comics, if they don't have it here, they'll get it from Annapolis for you. So usually like from previews, or definitely your best time is when previews come out and you say, hey, I'm interested in this incentive. Can I pre-order it? And within 24 hours, they're like, yeah, we can get that for you. This is how much it's going to be. Just take it, take care of it next time you're in with Sean or
right.
whatever. And then sometimes if it's like the week before, you can say, hey, some things they're not going to have, but some of them, they're like cover Bs, especially because the store down here doesn't get many like the DC cover Bs, but you can say a week before, like, hey, can you secure me a couple of the Matina Deathstrokes or whatever? And they're like, yeah. And if not, I mean, they'll tell you, but that's usually how I am. And I always feel bad about it, because I'm like, dude, you guys are probably sick of getting emails and stuff from me. And they're like, nah, we prefer you to do that because I don't have a pull box, because I don't subscribe to like one title or any title. It's always like
right,
freaking a la carte, like, oh, I want this book or I want this book. But if you email them, man, they take care of you. And I'm telling you, that guy Steve that runs Third Eye, to me, he's like the Wizard of Oz, because I talk to him on emails all the time, but I ain't never seen him. So he's behind that curtain, and they just opened a brand new store down in Richmond, Virginia. So they're doing good, and it's all about they take care of their customers. So,
and that's what it's all about, is customer service, and that's what lacks with a lot of comic book stores. And when you get one that understands that and takes care of you, it's a real blessing, and you'll be a customer for life.
Right. But so I think we're kind of reaching the tail end of this. Last call for anyone in the chat. Well, someone else just showed up, but sorry about the technical difficulties earlier. We worked it out. I think it worked out well. We got audio, and then we got Jack's handsome face back in. But
we had to ad-lib a little bit, but
yeah, yep. But hey, first live stream, man. I think it went pretty good. I mean, it's doing the little. I mean, like I said, I did one live stream before the comic haul, but this is different. Trying to do the whole two videos, stuff like that. But comment, man. Let me know if you guys like these live streams. I'd like to do more of them, and I'm sure Jack would be happy to be back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to come back. Make sure we get it right all the way through.
Right, and that, I mean, that goes for anyone else. If you guys in the chat, man, if you want to do a live stream, talk comic books, talk about whatever, we can do it. Definitely hit us up. And like we said, Comic Book Invest CBSI on Instagram, IGTV. There's a lot of good things coming in there. Follow both of us on Instagram, Simpleman's Comics, Comic Book Invest CBSI. Like Jack said, the DMs are open if you guys want to collaborate with CBSI. Arms are open, man. By all means, hit us up. Either way. But I definitely appreciate you guys watching. So
yeah, and if you're following us on Instagram and you haven't made your way to the Google Plus page, I encourage you to do it. Make your way to the Google Plus page. Head to comicbookinvest.com. If you're a Google Plus person and you haven't made your way to the IG page and checked out what we're doing over there, I encourage you to do that. Yeah, see what we've got moving, and we hope to keep bringing more in the future.
Right. Also, outside of this live stream, this video will stay on my channel. So, outside of the technical difficulties, feel free to share it, get the word out. If you guys want to collab, but I know I've said it a bunch of times, but everyone's willing to do collabs. Now I feel like I'm just dragging it along, but definitely appreciate you guys watching. Jack, you got anything to say before we go?
Hey, that's it. No, I appreciate everybody checking in today, and I appreciate the patience with the issues. And like I said, just check in, see what else we're gonna do, and man, reach out if you didn't get your comment answered, or if we missed something, or you didn't want to comment, or you're somebody who watches this later. Reach out to us in the DMs. Those DMs are always open, and we will get back to you as soon as we can.
Right. And if you're not familiar with the DMs, by all means, comment in the video, like on the YouTube channel. And I'll definitely make sure if it's not for me, it gets directed to someone at CBSI, it's Jack, whoever.
Yep.
But by all means, from the bottom of my heart, I definitely appreciate you guys watching, because you guys make it worth doing. And thanks a lot, guys. Last words? You get the last words, Jack.
Now, thank you. Hey, CBSI Bolo. Don't ever forget it.
Yeah. Hashtag Bolo. BOLO.
Yes.
So Jay Little says he's not familiar with DMs. It's basically an Instagram. It's instant messaging or direct messaging.
Direct messaging.
So if you use Instagram,
it's like a private message.
Yeah, it's basically private messages in Instagram. But
yeah, feel free to comment publicly in the, on a post or whatever. But if you want to get at us and talk to us one-on-one, you can do that in the DM. It's in the top right corner. Click the icon and you'll be able to go and message us directly.
All right. Cool. All right. I said my last words. Jack said his last words. Anyone in the chat got any last words before we end this? Going once. Going twice. And we're out. Thanks for watching, guys.